Hello, Jim. Thank you for the time today.
I am delighted to be here, Yasin.
We will speak today about the commodities markets and about your life lessons.
Well, I don't know how much I know about life or commodities, but we can talk about anything you want.
You said that commodities are the new market to get in for the normal investor.
Well, Yasin, if you look around at asset classes at the moment, bonds are the highest they've ever been in history. Never in history have bonds been high. So the bonds are a bubble all over the world. Property in many cities, if you go to Korea or New Zealand, many places, property is in a bubble, not everywhere, but many places. Stocks, many stocks are forming bubbles. Amazon goes up every day. Tencent goes up every day. You know, Samsung never goes down. So some stocks, not all are forming bubbles. But if you look at commodities, I mean, silver is down 50% from its all-time high. Sugar is down 70% from its all-time high. Oil is down 50% from its all-time high. So commodities are the cheapest asset class that I know about.
Yes, and how can we start to research for the next hot commodity? Like, can we research like supply and demand, and or how we can start to analyze the next commodities that gets getting up?
Well, if you're going to be an investor, you need to do research. You need to do homework. Yes, I hope people do not invest without doing their own research. But if you look at for commodities, copper is a commodity which is making new highs. It's near its all-time high again. But remember, it looks as though we're going to have electric cars. Well, electric cars use 5 times as much copper as regular cars. So the demand for copper is going to be going much, much higher, it seems. Silver is used in electricity and solar panels. Many things are happening which will cause the demand for commodities to go higher and higher. And you need to understand the supply situation. You know, agriculture has been a horrible place to be for 40 years now. The average age of farmers in America is 58. In Japan, it's 66. So we have fundamental supply problems developing in many commodities, and demand is growing or will be growing.
Yes, Jim, do you recommend any books that we can analyze the data, like you wrote in the book? You have like a yearbook of the commodities, like that maybe, or?
Well, the Commodity Research Bureau in Chicago is a huge commodity city, as you know. They publish a yearbook every year, an annual, with statistics and information about most commodities in the world. It is a place that I always start when I start looking at a commodity.
Yes, and you wrote in your book, "I give to my children that your children should learn, or we should learn about the Chinese market or about China, or that we become open mind and not always invest in our own country, that we travel around the world, and why we should learn Mandarin."
As I look at the world, you know, China is going to be the most important country in the 21st century. The 19th century was the century of the UK. 20th century was the century of the US. 21st century is going to be the century of China, whether we like it or not. A lot of people don't like it. So I have taught my children to speak Mandarin and to know about Asia. In their lifetime, Asia is going to be the most important thing. That does not mean they will be successful, but it might help them in life.
Yes, and you did a world journey with your wife in 1999?
I went around, my wife and I, she was my fiance when we set out, we got married on the trip. We spent 1999, 2000, 2001 driving around the world, yes. Earlier, in 1990 and 1991, I had driven around the world on a motorcycle, but this time I did it in a car. I've done it twice now, once in a car and once in a motorcycle.
Yes, and you said you can recommend it to the people that we become open-minded, to learn about all cultures in the world and to have more opportunities and I think ideas, inspiration, to learn more people.
Well, if you do travel, you will be exposed to many other cultures, people, ideas, food, religion, languages, everything. And usually it teaches you about the world. It also teaches you about yourself. It teaches you whether you can survive or not. For me, it's been a great adventure, but also a fantastic education. I learned a huge amount by going around the world. I'm glad I did it twice. Maybe I will do it again someday. It's a lot of fun for me. It's not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
Why it's not easy?
Well, nothing is easy if you do it right. Traveling around the world is not easy. Driving around the world is not easy. There are many problems, but it's a very good adventure. And even when I had problems, I learned something.
You live today in Shanghai?
No, I'm in Singapore. I live in Singapore. I am in
Singapore
now, and I am in Singapore now, and I live in Singapore.
And what was the reason to move from the United States to Singapore?
I wanted my children to speak Mandarin, a fluent Mandarin, and I wanted them to know Asia, because Asia will be the most important part of the world in their lifetime, and Mandarin is going to be an extremely important language in their lifetime.
Do you have like tips or books that we can read to learn more about the commodity markets, or
I don't read to them. I don't read to them about commodities because, you know, I have learned that if you try to teach somebody something and they don't want to learn it, they usually don't learn. If they want to learn, and if they come to me, or when they come to me and say, please teach us about investing, then I will start teaching them about investing.
Okay. Yes, Jim, thank you for your time today. Many thanks to you. And I wish you have a nice day.
It has been my pleasure, Yasin. Let's do it again sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.